Former Director General in the Department of Home Affairs has asked the President to intervene on the logjams over skilled worker visas. Mavuso Msimang believes if we don't import the right skills, it's going to have a direct impact on our economic growth. He's asking the President to slash the 22 criteria for skilled working visas by almost a third. I'm joined now by Mr. Msimang. He's, of course, an ANC veteran, also the newly elected ANC Veterans League Deputy President. Mr. Msimang, thank you so much for joining us. You've done a calculation. You're working for a period within the President's office, and you've worked out there's a direct correlation between not importing the skills we need and our GDP. Just tell us how you arrived at that.
Well, we did it. Thank you very much. Good evening to you. Good evening to your viewers. I was assigned to investigate, shall I take one step back? The presidency and cabinet found that in their ERRP, Economic Reconstruction and Recovery Program, that there were 6 areas which had an impact on the growth or non-growth of the economy. One of them was the requirement of to import scarce skills. The economy is said to be affected by the lack of critical skills it needs here, and it was necessary then to look at Home Affairs, look at their processes and the policies in place, and find out if anything could be done to fast-track the requirement of these skills, the accessing of these skills. Home Affairs, of course, is the department that is responsible for immigration, both the normal immigration and the import of the recruitment of skills by companies. That's cleared by the Department of Home Affairs. So we spent a fair bit of time talking to Home Affairs, looking at their systems, looking at their processes, but also looking at policy issues. When I say processes, I mean how long does it take for them to process a visa that's been approved or not approved?
Sorry, just to jump in there, you speak about the length. I mean, that has been hitting the headlines for much of this year, that skilled workers who want to come and work, whether it's sort of heading up a foreign company in South Africa, they've been waiting months and months and months and months. I understand that some improvements have been made recently. So I understand that, for example, you no longer have to give in the TB test and the police clearance test before you can get that skilled workers visa, which is interesting because, of course, other countries ask for that. If you want to go and work in Britain or if you want to get a visa in Britain, those are still requirements that you are prepared, that you have to be prepared to do. So how onerous are these requirements really? I mean, you're saying these 22 requirements need to be trimmed down to 8. What among them are the ones that you think are utterly a waste of time and are just causing these backlogs?
Yeah, first of all, just to indicate that there used to be a requirement for a police clearance for all the years that you were outside. Let me just back up again. There are companies which are, for instance, my brain is not working now.
Don't worry, it's late on a Tuesday. You're forgiven.
Multinationals, is what I want to say, have their employees work in different countries. Now, there was a requirement by Home Affairs that the police report for a person who is coming in should be provided for each of the many countries that they may have worked in. So some may have worked in 5, 8 countries, which was really quite cumbersome. We have not recommended that this be removed altogether, but rather that the latest, the police report from the latest country of assignment for this aspect be provided. But talking about completely unnecessary documents, there was a time when somebody had to produce a radiology report to indicate that they didn't have certificates to show that they didn't have TB or things like that. We compared what was required here and what was required by countries that are considered to be efficient, which in the processing of visas for skills that are needed in those countries. We try to look at like and like. We would not readily
and how do we how do we stack up against them?
We didn't stack up very well. We still don't stack up very well. Nigeria, Kenya, take 3 times as much time as the Kenyans and the Nigerians do. At a certain time, they decided that, listen, we need these skills, and let's improve our processing, our clearance processes.
So I wonder okay, so you around 2010, I think it's when you left as a DG of Home Affairs. Have these problems always been there, or have they got worse over time?
I think there has been an escalation of problems. I got into Home Affairs in 2007. There were problems of a different nature. The performance of the organization was not good, to the extent that the Auditor General declared a disclaimer on the accounts. There were problems between the DG and the minister and things like that. So that was a different set of problems. Also, corruption was quite rife. We did come in there. I don't want to be praising myself. I went in there with a very good team. A lot of the things that we're talking about now were sorted out to a point where Home Affairs was declared by Princeton University and other accredited institutions and rated as a most improved IT managing department in government, and that the reforms that had been made at the time were irreversible. So good they were supposed to have been. So there has been a little decline.
Sorry to jump in, because we really are tight on time. I wish we had more time to chat. But I understand that some of the problems relate to the IT systems, that things are too centralized, so they get jammed at the top and they don't get processed quickly enough. And there's too much of a reliance on the Department of Labor database. Also, though, so there's that on the one side. But how much is there a lack of will to process skilled working visas from foreigners? Because we know with our massive unemployment in South Africa, there's a real resistance to foreigners coming in and taking jobs, even though we don't necessarily always have the skills. So how much is technical, IT, process-driven, and how much is attitude-driven?
No, there was a fair bit of attitude there. I think we do seem to clamp down and close our doors as South Africans. We're not terribly fond of foreigners. And with the high levels of unemployment, many people don't understand that the kinds of skills that you need in the country are actually the right skills to generate the growth of the economy. And so people think we would graduates who are out of jobs and you still want to get people in. The ordinary person in the street would be excused for believing that, but surely at the level of a company, specialized organization that deals with that, I think there was in the past. I must say, when we started this program, a person who was assigned to be in charge of immigration was so open-minded, and things really moved very fast. Instead of saying security requirements should be met first, said, all right, come in, we'll take you on trust almost, but we'll clamp down as soon as we discover that there's anything the matter. So attitudinal problems have played a role. The IT thing really has much to do with the backup that Home Affairs gets from CETA. At the current moment, CETA is having some problems providing the requisite support.
Yeah, and CETA, of course, is the State Information Technology Agency. I know that you were CEO there as well, so you probably well know the problems. In fact, in interviews with the Home Affairs Minister on this channel, he said to me, CETA is a real problem. I think we're going to have to get you back to get an update on how your suggestions have gone down within Home Affairs, and also whether the President is responding positively to your call to take away these onerous conditions, make it a lot easier to get the skilled workers that we need into the country, but of course still keep the important checks and balances. I want to thank you so much for your time this evening. Really always love chatting to you. We will get you back. Former Home Affairs DG, he's also the newly elected ANC Veterans League Deputy President, Mavuso Msimang.